pumps on Grand Bahama. The defense presenting its case in the Barry and Sheena Johnson murder trial. And tonight we will meet the Interact Club's debate winners.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all, I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping the news tonight, have you noticed that the cost of gas is climbing at the pumps yet? Well, the change took effect today. This increase comes as gas prices in the U.S. have risen over the last 2 weeks to its highest since 2015. Residents on Grand Bahama can now expect to shell out more as they head to the pumps to fill up on lead-free gasoline. Chief Price Inspector Reno Smith notes that gas has increased by some 9 cents, from $4.61 to $4.70.
It's important to note that this is our fourth actually, significant change in oil prices on the island. In early February, the gas was $4.68, and then it dropped by 7 cents to $4.61, and now it will go up again to $4.70.
He says while he cannot offer an explanation for the price increase, he says it may be attributed to world changes.
Most likely it's because of the price of new gas. Whenever gas around the world goes up, we will all feel that at the pump. So most likely the suppliers just got a new supply of gasoline, and no doubt they paid a heftier price for it. So unfortunately the increase has to be passed on to the consumer. But at the same time, when there is a decrease in the barrel of gas or the cost of a barrel of gas, that's when there's a reduction in prices at the pump.
He adds that officers within the Consumer Affairs Unit are always on top of price changes.
Every time there's a change in price, especially when there's a reduction, we send officers out because we want to make sure all of the suppliers are on board. Trust you me, we don't need to check when there's an increase. So we check when there is a reduction in price.
Now in news from the crime beat, one man is hospitalized tonight following a shooting incident that occurred on the Mall Drive last night. According to police reports, shortly after 11 p.m., a silver two-door Chevy Cavalier with 2 male occupants was in the area of the R&D Plaza on the Mall Drive when a silver Mazda vehicle pulled up next to them and shots were fired. The male driver of the Cavalier sustained injuries to the upper body and was rushed to the hospital where he is detained in serious condition. His passenger was not injured. Several persons are in custody and are being questioned in connection with that shooting. Police in Bimini seizing a quantity of suspected marijuana. Police tell us that shortly before 9 last night, officers went to an area in Alice Town where they discovered in bushes a plastic bag containing over 3 pounds of suspected marijuana with a street value of $3,200. No arrest was made. Police are investigating. The defense presenting its case in the Barry and Sheena Johnson murder trial in the Supreme Court. Today, the attorney for accused, Devon Hall, called a witness to the stand. Italia Hall was there.
Attorney Jethlyn Barrows did not offer opening statements, but instead called for Dr. Hasten Johnson, a medical doctor, to the witness stand. Dr. Johnson, a graduate of the University of the West Indies and a medical practitioner, is currently assigned to the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services in New Providence. Barrows asked Johnson if he examined Devon Hall on September 21st of 2015 while on remand. Johnson said yes. Now defendant Devon Hall claimed that he had abdominal pain and that he was beaten by CDU officers several days before he was taken to New Providence and placed on remand. During his testimony, Dr. Johnson said that he found multiple abrasions on both sides of Hall's neck and there were multiple areas where trauma was found. The witness continued and listed some of the injuries listed on a referral note, which range from knee tenderness, bruises on the hip muscles, and reduced mobility on his left wrist and hand. Dr. Johnson said he then diagnosed defendant Hall with polytrauma gave him Voltaren for pain, and referred him to the Accident and Emergency Center at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Attorney Burrows then asked him if there was a reason why he referred Hall to the Princess Margaret Hospital. To that, Dr. Johnson said he gave Hall a referral because of his injuries, and he wanted to ensure that nothing was fatal. Dr. Johnson then read the medical report for Devon Hall from the Princess Margaret Hospital, noting that he was discharged on the same day. He was also asked by Attorney Burrows to list any other interactions he had with Defendant Hall while in prison and the complaints made by Hall. Attorney for Paul Belizaire, Jeffrey Farquharson, then asked Dr. Johnson how many doctors are at the prison and how many inmates are they responsible for. Dr. Johnson said there are 3 doctors and they are responsible for more than 1,700 inmates. Farquharson then asked him if he knew what the word malinger means and to define it. Dr. Johnson said to malinger is to pretend to have injuries that are not there. Farquharson then told Dr. Johnson that he is the last line of defense for someone coming out of police custody, and if there's any evidence to show if a person was abused in custody. Dr. Johnson agreed. Prosecutor Neil Brathwaite then began his cross-examination. He asked Dr. Johnson if he noted on his report that Defendant Hall had a swollen ankle with no fracture, and Dr. Johnson agreed. Brathwaite asked if the abrasions on Hall's neck could be the result of scratching. To that, Dr. Johnson said yes. At that point, Attorney Farquharson and Attorney Carlson Sherlin objected, raising the issue of relevance. Justice Estelle Gray Evans then told Prosecutor Brathwaite to continue. He then told Dr. Johnson that if he did not know if Devon Hall was beaten at all, to that Dr. Johnson said he was right. Prosecutor Brathwaite then said that he had no further questions. Attorney Jetlin then stood up and asked Dr. Johnson if all of the injuries found on Hall is consistent with the complaint. Dr. Johnson said that is a possibility. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Italia Hall.
Tonight, as we continue our series Inside the Force, our Italia Hall takes us on a tour of the Police Criminal Records Department. In this report, she highlights the role of CRO in the fight against crime.
The Criminal Records Department, also known as CRO, is comprised of 4 sections. Acting Officer in Charge, Detective Inspector Martin Roberts says the department is an important part of the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
We play a vital function in the operation of the police force. We process crime scenes, we assist internal, external customers, foreign entities.
Sergeant Rio McPhee says the Crime Scene Investigation Section is responsible for attending to all crime scenes in Grand Bahama, Bimini, Abaco, and the surrounding keys.
We are responsible daily for attending all crime scenes, inclusive of murders, armed robberies, damages, housebreaking complaints, any matter that is called upon for the crime scene section to attend, we do so.
So this room I'm now standing in is called the APHIS section, and here it's all about your fingerprints.
In the APHIS section, we use a system called the Automated Fingerprint Identification System, which is commonly called the APHIS system. We would compare fingerprints found on crime scenes with fingerprints from persons thought to have touched particular items. When necessary, we report our findings, and then from there we give our evidence in court reference to our results.
Corporal Gayshell Russell says the records are kept for 7 years and in some cases even longer.
All of the court results would come here and we would update persons' criminal records. Also, all of the fingerprints, once a person is arrested, the fingerprints would come here and we would just keep them.
Now, this area may look familiar to many residents because this is where you come to collect your police certificates, and it's actually called the Character Reference Section. Constable Chantel Williams says some 100 persons pass through this area on a daily basis.
This area consists of the issuing of criminal records and police record. However, there is a difference between both. We have the criminal record certificate that is issued with no criminal activities on that. With the police record, that display all criminal activities that is displayed on your record. Once you go before the magistrate court, you're charged or fined, that it's on your record. It's a time frame for that to be on your record. However, if you're a young person, if you fall underneath the ages of 16 and 21, it remains on your record for 2.5 years. If you fall underneath the Adult Act, it remains for 5 years. We also assist with non-Bahamian records, and that's a different process. That has to be sent into NASA through Interpol, and that takes about 14 working days. We also assist with our vetting and our live fingerprint scan.
Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Italia Hall.
Thanks, Italia. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition continues in just a moment.